Hi, good morning. Can I just check, can you all see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Can, huh? Okay, now I already sent out the answers to the class chat yesterday, and then I also posted on Google Classroom this morning. You can check the answers, so hopefully you can pay more attention to listen to the explanation, and then you can copy your answers or do the corrections a bit later. All right, now let's do this a shorter set, so we might be able to finish earlier than expected. Okay, let's begin with our first questions. First one on product of its prime factors. So 784, we do prime factorization. You notice that it's 2 to the power of 4 and then 7 squared, right? Then the question, this is only one first part. The question says using your answers to explain why this is a perfect square. Now, a lot of students will say, oh, because the square root of 784 is a integer, it's a whole number. Okay, but that does not use the answer. The answer in this case, they want you to explain it regarding the prime factors and what's so special about perfect square prime factors, the prime factors when they are in perfect square. If it's perfect square, the powers of the prime factors are all multiple of 2, even number. Because when we do square root, we need to have something times something, right? So the power must be able to be equally divided by 2. Okay, so the correct answer for this kind of question should be 784 can be represented as 2 to the power of 4 and 7 squared. So you have to write in your answers from part A and then explain that, okay, because this were all the powers of the prime factors. Okay, all the powers of its prime factors are multiples of 2. So when it's a multiple of 2, that means it can be square rooted. Okay, so you're not going to use saying that, oh, I square root 784 is an integer. I have to use the answer, which is the explaining the powers itself, that the power are multiples of 2. Therefore, it's a perfect square. Okay, to add on to this, then how do we explain if it's going to be a perfect cube? Okay, if it's going to be a perfect cube, then we'll explain that all the powers of prime factors are multiples of 3. Okay, because when we take cube root, it's power, when we take cube root, there'll be power 1/3. Okay, that means all the power need to be divisible by 3. That means hence they are all multiples of 3. Okay, so this one, the first answer, only this answer is acceptable. All the other answers related to square root lah, because square root is a whole number, or not applicable. Okay, next question. Now this one over here, right, there is one key sentence over here. M and N are both prime numbers. That means what is that we have this number M and N. This one cannot be 2 to the power of something or 7 to the power of something or any other number that has a power. Also cannot be any other number that is not a prime number. Okay, so in that case, we have to look at the powers of 784 itself. So 784 itself is written, this is 784, can be written as 2 to the power of 4, 7 squared. Then they want us to multiply something so that this is a perfect cube. If this is a perfect cube, that means the powers must be multiple of 3. Okay, multiple of 3. That means what are the numbers we have? We have 2 to the power of 4. Either it can become 2 to the power of 6 to be a multiple of 3, or it can reduce in power to become 2 to the power of 3. Okay, then we have 7 squared. Either it can become 7 cubed, or it's totally 7 to the power of 0, no 7 at all. Okay, but if I were to have that, then I need to see what do I need to multiply. Okay, For n, can I multiply it to make it, let's say for example, I multiply 2 square, make it become 2 to the power of 6. But then, is 2 square prime? This is not prime. So in this case, I cannot increase the power to make it 2 to the power of 6. If that's the case, I cannot increase it. That means I have to decrease the power. So that means I have to try to make it become 2 to the power of 3. How to make it become 2 to the power of 3? This one 2 to the power of 4. I divide away by 2. Okay, so 2 to the power of 4, I divide away by 2. That will give me 2 to the power of 3. It becomes a perfect cube. And this number 2 is a prime number. Okay, so that's case, n must be equals to 2. Next one, let's look at our next number, 7 itself. 7 squared. Either I can make it become 7 to the power of 3. So 7 squared, I multiply with one more 7. So this number is 7. Okay, then it becomes 7 cubed. And in this case, this number here, 7 is a prime number. So it satisfies both the condition. I have made it become a perfect cube. If I multiply by 7 and then divide by 2. Okay, so this one will be a perfect cube. And both the numbers are prime numbers. So in this case, n is equals to 7, n is equals to 2. Okay, how did we come up with these two numbers? Because the factors over here only got 2 and 7. So of course, I only consider these two prime numbers. Is that okay? Yeah, cannot then you let me know again later. I can explain to you personally. Next one, simplifying this. Now this one is the property for index power form indices. A to power n, if I have bracket, right? This means it's a to power n multiplied with n. Okay, means it's time. Okay, and in this case, I have 3 to power of 3x cubed square. This power 2 must apply to all the different terms. Okay, so it have to be 3 square and then x to power of 3. In this case, we apply this property 3 times 2. Okay, then you get 3 square, which is the number 9. 3 times 2, which is power x to power 6. Alternatively, if you're not very sure, you know that this is something square. You can write it as the whole thing repeated itself 2 times. So when it's repeated 2 times, then you get 3 times 3 is 9. X to power 3 times x to power 3, when there's multiplication, power add onto each other, then you get the answer 9x to the power 6. But this can only be used if the power is something like a square, is easier to see, right? If the power is like power 10, power 11, or even bigger than that, then it'll be difficult for you to write it out so many times. Then you will have to use this, this property over here already. Okay? Next question. Given that 16 to the power of negative half, right, times k equals to 1. Now, first thing to take note, what is power a to power of negative 1? A to power negative 1 is the reciprocal, meaning 1 over a. 1 divided by something. So technically speaking, this value, this whole expression over here becomes 1 over 16 to the power of positive half, not negative. Where did the negative go? The negative became 1 over. Okay, and then this one is times k equals to 1. So if I want to get rid of the number over here, I shift this whole thing, multiply it across. Okay, then I'll get k equals to 1 times 16 to the power of half. Okay, then 16 to the power of half, yesterday we went through something like that. This one is a to power 1 square root. So this one is actually a to power of 1 over 2. So power half actually means square root 16. Then square root 16 will give you the number 4. Okay. Alternatively, there are some students who do not know how to do the answer, but you know logically, oh, I want to find k, I don't want this whole thing. I can just take 1 divided away by the whole expression. Then you can leave this thing to your calculator if you want to, and then you can calculate and get the answer straight away. Okay, so there are a few methods. If you want, you can use your understanding for indices. If you are not very good at indices, doesn't matter. You can just divide this term away. So divide this portion away, leave it to your calculator for calculation. Okay, but that skill depends on the question. If the question has no other algebra value in it, then you can use the calculator straight away. Okay. Right, so there are a few main concepts. Number 1, a to power of n times n, okay, bracket. Then the second one, negative power. Third one, square root power of the power. Okay, move on to the next question. Okay, this question over here. Now, this question, I just highlight again our 4 main few property. First one, corresponding angles on parallel lines. Oops. Oh, I done this here. Corresponding angles on parallel lines. Then the next one that looks like that. Okay, maybe I'll just zoom in a bit more. Okay, interior angles on parallel lines. Okay, this one is interior angles on parallel lines. Then alternate angles on parallel lines. Then the last one, vertically opposite angles. All right, so you notice every time I do anything that's related to the properties, I try to list down the properties, right? So that it helps me to reinforce my memory. Now, next one, the question says, inside the diagram, EAF is a straight line, AB is parallel to CD. So when the question says AB parallel to CD, immediately I get a letter F, which is I have a pair of corresponding angles over here. So in this case, this one is a pair of corresponding angle. Y will straight away be 58 degrees, corresponding angles on parallel lines. Okay, next one. The question here says that AB bisect. What does bisect means? Bisect means cut exactly into 2. So angle FAC is cut into 2 equal portions. If it's cut into 2 equal portions, we already know this is 58. So therefore, this one must be 58. Then if that's the case, I want to find x. That will be an easy value. 180 minus 58, adjacent angles on a straight line. Question say value. So you notice that my answer over here, I did not put a degree. I wrote the degree actually, then I erased it off. Right, so value, don't need the degree, just the number 64. Next one, value of y, very straightforward. Corresponding angles on parallel lines, 58 degrees. Right, now there might be some changes in this type of question nowadays. They may put, find the value of y, then they will give you the dotted line and ask you, the dotted line means they ask you to write the working and the explanation. So you need to state the properties. Okay, sometimes, so if they give like a very long set of dotted lines, means they want you to write the properties, then you need to state all the properties inside. Okay, so these are still main key properties that you should be able to remember. Next question. The diagram shows a hexagon. Hexagon is not pentagon. Hexagon is six-sided. Okay, just roughly go through a little bit. Four-sided is a quadrilateral. Right, quadrilateral is four sides. Pentagon, okay, is five sides. Hexagon is six sides. Anyone remember what seven sides? Seven sides is heptagon. Okay, then octagon. Octagon should be easy. Octagon will be eight sides. Nonagon will be nine sides. Then decagon will be a decade, right? A decade means 10 years. So decagon will be 10 sides. All right, so these are some of the key ones to remember. Then any other more than this will be called n-gon. For example, 11-gon, 12-gon, or whichever means they have that number of sides. They don't have any more special names already, right? So this is a hexagon divided into three congruent shapes. When it says congruent shapes, it means certain angles are going to be the same. So what do we have? We have 105 here. This one is the angle that look a little bit like very squarish, very sharp. So immediately I mark in all the other angles that looks like it. That is also of the same angle. So this is 105. And then we have angle, the remaining angle is Z. So these are the angles that are Z. Okay. Then what do we notice? We notice this one is a hexagon, six-sided. That means all the interior angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will add up to the total sides, a total number of angles of a hexagon. So how do we find the interior angles of a hexagon? Formula is n minus 2 times 180. What is n? N is the number of sides. So our hexagon has 6 sides, so we plug in the value for 6, and you get our total angle is 720. Okay, so in order to find Z, what do? We take 720 is the total, minus away 105, got 3 of them. Then the remaining, they're all congruent shape, right? So we divide by 3 to find Z. Okay, so the second portion, I think most of you know, just need to remember this formula, see whether you know how to remember this formula or not. Okay, so sum of interior angles, this is the value, and then we get the answer accordingly. Any questions? Okay, then I'll move on to the next part. Okay, this one's simple, right? I just started with the simpler ones. Okay, there are a few things to take note. Number one, there are some of them who really didn't know how to do this question, even this inside the prelim paper, prelim practice paper, not mid-year practice paper. Okay, so we have different denominators. We just need to do the first step, multiply each of them, okay, with the denominator. Now, I understand some of you are able to expand it straight away, but please remember there is a negative sign here. Negative times negative will give you, there's a change of sign, it's positive. Many students don't write this step, they skip this step. Okay, they skip this step and they come to this step straight away. If you are able to expand it, okay, and write down and expand it to the correct value, okay, then you can get your 1 mark. If not, if you write this step, at least you show the correct method, but you expand wrongly later, there is method mark over here. All right, but if you were to write this step straight away and you expand it wrongly, then you will have no method mark. Answer mark also not correct, then this whole question will be 0. So that's how the marking is. So some of you in your prelim paper, I mark quite a few. They know how to expand. They know that it's supposed to be done this way, but they expand wrongly. Then they do not get the mark. So it straight away is 0. Okay, so you have to be very careful where you want to write your working. Then after expansion, this one will be the answer. We only expand and simplify the numerator. Do not expand the denominator. Okay, do not expand. For any simplest fraction in simplest form should always come in factorized form. Okay, as much as possible to show that there is no other common factors. So try not to expand your denominator. Okay, next question. Factorize this completely. Now you'll notice I'll keep repeating a bit of this, okay, because this is one of the most popular TYS question. Now the normal type of factorization, let's begin with a very quick revision for what are the different types of factorization that we can do. Okay, if there is any number of terms, first thing that we always do is check for common factors. This is very important. Okay, before you can do any type of factorization, always check, is there any common factors? All right, for any number of terms. Then for questions with expression that are usually on 4 terms, right? Usually this kind we can try to do by grouping. Okay, we break it up into 2 groups of 2 to see whether are there any common groups that we can group up. When you have 3 terms and it involves quadratic equation of the form ax squared bx plus c, then you can do the trial and error method or the cross method, or I don't know, some of you do is window method, right? They're all the same. Or you can use your calculator to get it into something times something. Okay, so that is any terms, 4 terms and 3 terms. Then we have things that has 2 terms. So this one is only 2 terms and involve something of the pattern, something square, a squared minus b squared. This is a special product and it must only be minus. Then a squared minus b squared, you use the special product a plus b, a minus b. Okay, so first thing we check, take a look at this. It looks like there's something square, but I'm not able to apply it immediately. I notice this one is divisible by 5, divisible by 5, so I must factorize out the common factor. Do not throw it away. Common mistake, student will just put a squared minus 4, they leave out the 5 in the next bracket, next answer. Okay, so always keep your 5. You know it's 5 already, immediately write down 5, then bracket something. The question itself has 2 marks. I think 2 marks, right? Yes. So even if you're not able to do the part 2 answer, you did this answer, you already have 1 mark. Okay, so factorization by common factor, very important. Already can get 1 mark over here. Then now we know, observe, a squared minus 4. 4 can be written as 2 square. Okay, 4 can be written as 2 square. So it's a squared minus 2 square. So it's a plus 2, a minus 2. Remember, it's 2 different signs. 2 different signs. Not, this is not, should write in red color. Give me a minute, yeah. Okay, this is not the same as a minus 2 whole thing square. When you have a minus 2 whole thing square, the square is for the whole bracket, it's not for individual. Okay, they are not the same. These two are not the same. For this one will be a minus 2, a minus 2. But this one is plus, the other one is minus. They are not the same sign. Okay, so this one cannot, not correct. Okay, so the final answer, 5, a plus 2, a minus 2, will be a very common question. If exam come out, you must make sure you know how to do. Okay, Next question. Y is inversely proportional. Inversely proportional, y equals to k over something. Someone wrote in the practice paper something over k. No, not correct. K over something. And then next, always look out for the words. Don't just read the x itself. Don't be just x over x directly. It says cube of x. That means this is x cube. Okay, that means it's x cubed. So y equals to k over x cubed. Now for basic questions, they give you values. Y equals to -1, x equals to 2. What is that for? For you to substitute inside to find the value of k. So I found the value of k after I cross multiply. But the question wants the equation. So just finding k equals to -8 is not a final answer. Plug the k back into the equation. So this one is now y equals to -8 over x cubed. Okay, so this one is the answer. Secondly, next part, find the value x when y equals to 64. So y is equals to 64. I can do a cross multiplication. So this one will be 64x cubed equals to -8. I want x cubed, I don't want 64. So I divide both sides by 64. So -8 over 64. Then 1 over 8, -1 over 8. Then I do 1 cube, I do a cube root. Then I get my answer, x equals to -half. Okay, for cube root, there is no plus or minus. Only square root has plus or minus sign. So you notice the question actually got clue. It put value. Sometimes the question will put value bracket s. It means maybe you have a square root somewhere, plus or minus, you can get 2 answers. Okay, so when the question have this kind, the question they write it this way, they are actually giving you a hint. Then you know, probably I need 2 answers. Sometimes nowadays, the answer blank can be just 1 blank. Don't think that it will only be 1 answer. You can put 2 answers if there are really 2 answers on the blank. So the blank and the answer blank itself can also trick you. Sometimes they are kind, they may put this or this to tell you that there are 2 answers. Okay, but it may not always be the case. So if there are really 2 answers, please do write down 2 answers. Don't anyhow reject the answers. Okay, of course, we check the situation. Is it true that there's only need for 1 answer? Next one. Okay, the question over here says A, B, and C are 3 ships. First part, it says B is due west of A. What do you mean by west of A? West of A. Of A means my north down here. West means this one over here will be 90 degrees. Okay, on the north, south, east, and west. So this one will be 90 degrees over here. If that's the case, they are my north over here and my north over there. These are all parallel lines. So that means this is also 90 degrees. Okay, given that this one is angle 22 degrees, then this one over here will be 90 degrees minus 22 degrees. Okay, which give you your answer. 68 degrees. But then, I forgot to write the answer. Write down the bearing. Bearing should be 3 digits. You see, I also never write. 068. Right, bearing of C from A, bearing of C from B, sorry, bearing of C from B itself. Bearing of C from B itself. So this is the 90 this is the angle over here. So 068 degree bearing. Okay, next one question say using your protractor. Nowadays the question starts to have, I gave you another example during the near practice paper already, right? Using appropriate measurements. Then another one is the pie chart. They say it's an accurate pie chart. Now the question here say using a protractor measure. That means you're going to measure. All right. So when you have such kind of questions nowadays, they draw it to scale. They want you to measure. Sometimes the question is not to scale. When it's not to scale, they will ask you to calculate. They will ask you to find. They will not ask you to measure. Then you cannot measure it. So not every bearing questions can measure. Okay, they only depend on usually construction questions. Then they will ask you to measure. Okay, so in order to measure this, mine may not be accurate because I think my paper look a bit tilted. Okay, but yeah. So anyway, if I want to measure the bearing of A from C, A from C, A from C, and bearing goes in a clockwise direction. So this will be the clockwise direction. They want this whole angle over here. Then I already know my north, that's 180 degrees over at this side. So I just use my protractor to try to measure this small angle over here. Okay, you put your protractor this way. Oops, look very ugly. Okay, try again. Okay, then you put the center over here and you read starting from 0. Okay, look for the one that's 0. Your 0 may be on the outer or the inner scale, so you read accordingly. Okay, so then I read this angle. Mine is approximately 20, but it may not be accurate because my lines may be slanted on my paper when I measure may be slanted. So there is a range of acceptable answers as long as you indicate on your diagram, you know the person can read what is the angle that you are measuring and is of an appropriate reasonable value, they will give you as correct. Okay, so 180 plus 20, so that gives me 200 degrees. So my bearing is 200 degrees. Okay, and this one here, wow, 2 marks. That means they want to see your working as well. Okay, when you ever see a lot of marks, please make sure you try to do working. Next one, construct the perpendicular bisector of BC. So this is the line, red color is the line BC. Now there is a very bad habit, some of you, you only do halfway, you only have one half of the cross over here. Then you use this midpoint and then you try to draw a line. Sorry, we want to see the whole working. So the first part is you put the sharp point at B, you open up more than half, you draw the arc. Then now you change over, you put the sharp point at C, you draw the other half. Okay, we want to see the whole arc as the construction. Some of you construct, you erase it away. Don't anyhow erase away. Okay, then taking these 2 sharp points, these 2 marking points over here, draw the line across. Okay, this is your perpendicular bisector of BC. Part C, label your answer. Okay, if sometimes you do wrongly, but then actually it's like maybe 2 of them, you do 1 of them wrongly, but you never label which one answer, then the teacher is very difficult to give you the marks. So please label your answers. All right. Okay, and do not be so stingy. Don't draw such a small line. Draw as long as possible. Okay, because sometimes the construction may need you to look for a point of intersection and stuff like that. So remember to extend your line a little bit longer. Okay, if you still do not know how to do construction, later on I send out the video on construction of perpendicular bisector and angle bisector. You can watch the video a bit later. All right, next one, construct the angle bisector of angle ABC. Angle ABC. So this is the angle that they want. So using my sharp point at here, I open up my compass, I mark an angle. Technically speaking, I need the first angle over here. Keeping your compass the same length, don't change. Mark the next angle. And this sharp point over here, mark the next angle. So to me, it looked like a coconut tree. So this one is the leaves of the coconut tree. This one is my seashore. Then I'm going to plant the center, the coconut tree down to earth. Okay, to my shore. Then draw straight line. Okay, So this one will be answer for D. Please label your answer. So this one is the angle bisector. Luckily, don't know why they never ask for point of intersection, but should be okay, right? So this one, 1 marks each. Next question. You all have any questions? Okay, I'm practically talking to myself lah. So yeah. You all need me to explain anything, must let me know, okay? All right, inside this question over here, one of your topics that you are weaker at, coordinate geometry. First, coordinate geometry, very visual. You must be able to know what is the difference between x equals to something, y equals to something. Okay, why do I recap this? Because later we need to use the concept lah, huh? If I have in general, there are a few different type of lines: horizontal line, vertical line, slanted line. Okay, a horizontal line cuts the y-axis. Okay, a horizontal line cuts the y-axis. So it must be y equals to a number. A vertical line cuts the x-axis. It cuts the x-axis. It cuts the x-axis at a number. So it must be x equals to something. Okay, a slanted line, only a slanted line. A slanted line cuts both the x and the y-axis. So it must be of some y equals to mx plus c. You will have y and you will have x. So if it's a horizontal line, only have y. If it's a vertical line, only have x. If it's a slanted line, have y and x. Okay, so these are some basic concepts you must know. Okay, next one. Inside the diagram, A is this point, -4, -1. What does this tells you? The y value -1 over here means my y on my y-axis, this is -1. On my vertical axis over here, this is number is x value is -4. Okay, then you notice C is on the same point. This is the same straight line over here. So we have one same straight line over here. Okay, so if we have one same straight line over here, this is a horizontal straight line. I'm going to check my ruler. Okay, this is a horizontal straight line. A horizontal line, it cuts the y-axis. Okay, cuts the y-axis at the number -1. Okay, so AC is parallel to the x-axis. Parallel to the x-axis means a horizontal line. Horizontal line, it cuts the y-axis at the number -1. So very obviously, this equation is going to be y equals to -1. Okay, so for the first question, write down the equation of line AC. You can try to do your y equals to mx plus c. You will not get the gradient, you get 0 or something like that. Not necessary. Straight away, you should recognize horizontal straight line, cut y-axis at a number. So y equals to -1. Next one, the equation for BC. Now, when you have a lot of lines, a lot of students, they have tendency to be careless and then they read the wrong points or use the wrong numbers. Okay, not very sure, but just remember again, take a look at the diagram and match it. So BC is y equals to 2x plus 4. B to C is a downward sloping line, BC. And you have, by solving simultaneous equation, what does solving simultaneous equation means? Let me try to undo this scribble. Okay, what does the word solving simultaneous equation means? Solving simultaneous equation means there are two equations. Why are there two equations? If there are two equations, means there are going to be two straight lines. Okay, that means there will be two lines. What are the two lines? The first one I have identified, BC, the one yellow color, right? Then where's the second line? And they want me to find the x coordinate of C. Which other line passes through point C? Which other line intersect with point C? A, the line AC. AC also passes through the point C, right? AC also passes through the point C, and the line BC also passes through a point C. So they want me to solve simultaneous equation. I have the equation for the first line already. Y equals this for BC. Then what's going to be the second line? The second line is the equation for AC. That means both of them needs at C. Equation 1, the line equation for BC. Equation 2, the equation for the line AC. If you are not able to do part A, most likely you will not be able to get any marks for your part B as well. Okay, so in this case, y equals to -1, very simple straight line. Okay, they test you more on concepts rather than just solving simultaneous equation. Then I substitute 2 into 1, so y equals to -1, and I get the value for x. Why did they ask me to solve only the x coordinate? Because y is already given. Y is equals to -1. Therefore, I don't need to find y anymore. I already know y equals to -1. They only want the x coordinate. So it's just an x value. Don't need to write points. This one is a pair of coordinates. So this is the wrong answer. Do not write like that. Okay. So just the x value. Next one, B is the point 0.5, 3. Find the equation of line AB. AB, that means I need A and B, right? Point A is -4, -1. So I have my 2 points over here, point A and point B. Equation of straight line, y equals to mx plus c. So first step, we need to find the gradient to find m. First step, always the same, find the gradient m. Okay, so we use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We have done this a couple of times already, these few days, yesterday and today. So hopefully you still remember. Okay, so please be careful with negative sign, right? Value may change. So we get gradient is 8/9. Y equals to mx plus c. So I replace my gradient then with the c value. Next one, how do I find my intercept? I substitute a point. For me, I choose to substitute the one that has no negative number because I worry that I will make mistake. So I chose B 0.53. But if you want to use -4, -1 also can, no problem. To find C, so after I multiply, I subtract it away. So I move it over this side, I subtract it away. C equals to 23/9. You notice that I did not write it in a mixed fraction form. I did not write in a mixed number. I did not put as a decimal number also. I put it as an improper fraction. Okay, so number 1 is more exact. And secondly, when there is algebra, do not use mixed number. When there's algebra, always use improper fraction. Okay, so equation of the straight line, y equals to this. Y equals to mx, and the c, now you replace the number 23/9. You can either write it this way, or if you don't like fraction, you can multiply all of them by the number 9, then you get this equation. Both are the correct answer. Okay, so this one, equation of a straight line, very common. Okay, commonly asked question. Number 1, find gradient. Okay, number 2, sub a point, find the y-intercept. You must know how to do. Okay. Next part of the question. Now today we have a slightly easier graph. This one, some of you try to join it together, is it? I saw. Okay, how do we know what shape is this? This one goes back to my same few shape of the graph that I have to draw again. First one, y equals to 1/x². It's of this type. Second type, That's why you need to memorize, you need to know what is the shape. Y equals to 1 over x, this type. Why is that so? Because when x is equals to 0, 1 divided by 0 has no values. So it's actually technically impossible to join up the 2 points in between here, right? So there's no need to join up the curve at all, because when when x is equal to 0, it will go to infinity. There's no value for it. Okay, then since I'm done, started with this, then I shall continue. This is x to the power -2, x to the power -1, this is x to the power 0. So y equals to just a number. X to the power 0 is just a straight line. Then the next one, y equals to x to the power of 1. That means it's an upward sloping line. Y equals to x to the power of 2. Y equals to x squared. Smiley face or sad face, depending on our question. Y equals to x to the power of 3. Y equals to x cubed. You all remember? X cubed is the one that looks like a little bit like a snake. We done this curve yesterday. Okay, cubic curve. Then the last but not least, y equals to a, x fly up to the top. X is now in the power, so it's an exponential graph that way. Okay, so this graph, you must know the shape and be able to understand what is the shape. So when they ask you to sketch, to draw, to plot, you know in your brain mentally what is the shape about. Okay, so this graph over here, y equals to 2 over x, definitely will be this kind. And -3, there's no other x value, so it will not become a negative, it's just a number. So that means the graph shift up or down by a certain number, right? So in this case, after plotting all the values, finding x equals to this, laying in the table, plot the points, then you just draw, okay? Then therefore we get all these values. Take note that these are all turning points. These are all curves with a turning, right? And they will somehow look a little bit symmetrical if you turn it upside down the other way. Okay, because these 2 points, they are like the butts, you know, the butt and the toilet bowl. The butt will be symmetrical, printed in the water when you sit on the toilet bowl, right? Okay, find the value of x when y equals to -6. So y equals to -6. Plug in the values, read from your graph. Okay, please remember to read your scale correctly. There are 10 squares over here. One small square is 0.1. This is negative number. So it's negative, not negative 1 point something, but lesser than 1. So I got negative 0.65. Different people may get slightly different answer depending on how you draw your graph. Okay. Next one, very easy portion. Find the gradient of the curve. When you say want to find the gradient of curve, that means you need to draw tangent line. Okay, need to draw a tangent line when x equals to -1. So when x equals to -1, this is my point over here. I need to draw a tangent line. So usually for me, I'll draw 2 squares. I go all the way up to touch the curve. Okay, the 2 squares are the same. Let me zoom in a little bit more. The 2 squares are the same, but this height here may not be the same. May not be the same. So you don't draw, must necessarily be the same height. Then I draw all the way down. So you notice here I got 2 squares. Here I got about 3 squares. Okay, the height are not the same. Right, only the horizontal squares I try to make it the same. So this one is my the other point. Taking my ruler, okay, using these 2 points as a gauge, let me just try to shift it up. Using the 2 blue dots as a gauge, put my pencil on the cross that I want. You notice there will be still a slight gap. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. There's still a slight gap. My pencil and my ruler did not meet yet. So I shift up my ruler all the way until it touches my pencil. Oops, not very accurate. the way I turn. Okay, so I shift up all the way until it touches my pencil. And then draw the line. Okay, oh, my line not very accurate. Depending on how I drew it. Here. Aha. Okay, then I draw my tangent line. Okay, so I already draw one tangent line already. Try not to make it very short. Extend as long as possible so that I can find nice points. Try not to be too stingy and just draw a very short portion. Okay, so in this case, I just find any nice point that is easy for me to read the value. Okay, it really depends on your own graph. So I got this point over here and this point over here. Then as usual, gradient y2 minus y1, please do it correctly, over x2 minus x1. This one is a giveaway, so really must know how to do. Okay, then I say yesterday, gradient for this kind of question, do not put it as fraction because they want the accuracy, they want to see the decimal place as well. Okay, so please give your answer in 3 significant figures. All right, for this kind of graph question, do not put your gradient. They ask you to find and estimate the gradient. Right? Do not write it in a fraction. Write it in decimal place. The three significant. All right. Unless they specifically say so, want it in fraction. If not, please don't do so. Okay. Next question. This one over here, Peter went to Hong Kong, he changed. So this one is just exchange rate. I'm not going to explain 9A. We'll leave it for you. Okay, 9B, I should explain a little bit. This one is a practical situation of a direct and inverse proportion. Now, how do I know whether is it a direct or an inverse proportion? I have to think very logically. If I have the number of people and the number of hours for me to finish my work, when the number of people increase, will I take longer or shorter time to finish the work? Shorter time, right? So I take lesser hours. So you notice they go in opposite direction. When it's opposite in direction, means this one is inverse proportion, inversely proportionate. Okay, so if the number of people decrease, then I'll take a longer time. Now, there are 2 types of way to do this question. Number 1, by logical sensing, proportion. 8 hours would take 5 people. How long will it take 4 people? I'm given the number of people. So when I know the number of people, I try to change the number of people to become 4. So what I'll do, I make it into 1 person first. So in this case, I'm dividing by 5. That means here I need to multiply by 5. I'll do the reverse. When the number of people decrease, the time increases. So from 8 becomes 40. Now I change the number of people to 4. I increase the number of people. So I multiply by 4 over here. But the other side will be, if I increase the number of people, I have lesser time taken. So divide by 4 to give me the answer 10. Okay, and you'll notice this number 40 here, right? Is actually your constant K, right? How do I get this constant K? Let's look at it in terms of an equation. So now we know that this is inversely proportionate. The people and the hour, the time is inversely proportional to people. You want to do it the other way around also can, not really much of a difference, right? If you put people over time also can. People equals to K over time also can. So inversely proportional means K over. Then I know that 8 hours for 5 persons. So I plug in 8 hours and 5 is to find my K. You notice 8, my constant is also 40. So they also still find the constant in both ways. Then plug back the 40 and now they give me 4 people. So answer will be 10 hours. Okay, so for this type of question, either you prefer the algebra method or you can use a proportion method through common sense. Next one, okay, this one also a common sense question, but some people may be blur how to calculate what does the question actually, what is it talking about, right? The number of hours they are paid is in the following way. From Monday to Friday, so day 1 to day 5, Monday to Friday, every hour work after the first 7 hours. So after first 7. So first 7 is still considered as 1 hour each. Then it's considered 1.5 hour. What does this mean? For example, if I have 8 hours for that day, it can be split into the first 7 hours. Okay, I will get paid accordingly 1 hour, as per 1 hour how much. But my extra 1 hour, this one I will be paid accordingly to 1.5 hours payment. All right, so I'll be paid a little bit extra, considered as OT, right? 1.5 times, right? So technically I'm not working 8.5 hours, but I work 8 hours, but I get paid 8.5 hours, the extra 0.5 hour rate. Okay, on the 6th day, which is our Saturday over here, every hour work is considered as 2 hours. What does every hour work means considered 2 hours? Means every 1 hour I work, I get double the pay. I get 2 hours. I paid as 2 hours, right? So in this case, I should look through each one daily. Adam has 7 days, 7 hours, haven't exceeded, so it's just 7. 5 hours, right? Then on the 3rd day is 8 hour. 8 hour can split into the first 7 hour. Then I work 1 more extra hour for overtime, right? So it's 1.5 for that extra hour. Next number, this is 9. 9, I work for first 7, then I got extra 2, right? Extra 2 of them. Extra 2 hours is paid as a 1.5 rate. Okay, next one, 8, same thing. The first 7 hours is the same. The extra 1 hour will be paid as a 1.5 rate. Then day 6, Adam did not work on day 6, so don't have. Okay, so they ask the total number of hours that Adam was paid. To add up all the numbers over here, you get 29. Next one, the rate of pay is $14.50 per hour. How much did Brenda earn on day 6? Just day 6 itself. So Brenda has 5 hours. Each one is counted as 2 hours. So the hourly rate is times 2, right? So times 2. So 5 times 2, straight away 10 hours. And 10 hours get paid. 1 hour is $14.50. So we get our answer 148. Okay, this one I hope you all know how to calculate, because in the future, if you go for and work for OT and stuff like that, or even you go as a part-time job, this is how the real world actually pays the worker as well. So you should be able to know how to calculate your own salary. Okay, next question. This one is a long time we never do this kind of question, long forgotten. So give me a little bit more time to explain the question over here. Okay, first one, question say triangle PQR is similar to PSQ. The first thing we always do, match the labeling. PQR similar to PSQ. They do not anyhow write the labeling. It's always labeled according to the angle, okay, the matching angle. So you must match PQR with PSQ. That means angle P must match with P, Q with Q, AQ with S, R with Q. Not very sure? Let's look at our diagram. Okay, I have a triangle PQR, PQS, sorry. This is my bigger triangle. So that means we have a smaller triangle over here. Okay, I just draw out on my two to make them look similar. Okay, and it says PQS. If that is PQS, this is P, so here will be P also. PQR, so this is P, this is Q, so here will be R. Where are PQR? PSQ, sorry, PSQ, so that would be PQR, so PQR. Okay, make my own self blur. Okay, so I try to draw two matching triangles, or if not, I at least must match the labeling of the angles. Now let's try to plug in the numbers, the angles that are seen. Angle P, SPQ and QPR, or both of them are the same angle. So first angle is the same. Okay, they are common, exact same angle. Secondly, angle Q and S. PSQ is over here. Let me use another color. PSQ is over here. Then that means I must match with this one. Okay, are they the same angle? Let's read the question. They gave me that these two are the same angle. So this is given. Okay, so if this is given, then very obvious, angle Q must be equals to angle R. Then while we draw it this way, let's match the numbers. So RQ is 14, RQ is 14 over here, right? So RQ is 14. Then what you can see a pair of matching numbers already, right? This one, 21 and 14. Then we have the base with the base. Okay, and then maybe this side over here with this side over here. So we have the matching pairs. So if let's say you're not able to observe through diagram, doesn't matter. We can use our labeling to help us to find the matching pairs. First pair, PQ over PS. Doesn't matter. You want to write big over small, small over big, all the same. Okay, just make sure you have the same direction. Big over small, then everything is big over small. Right? So in this case, I have PQ over PS. You notice I wrote it down here. PQ over PS. From here, we can find the matching of the other sides as well. QR with SQ. Labeling must be correct. QR with SQ. And then last but not least, PR with PQ. PR with PQ. So for students who cannot see through diagram, you match through labeling. Okay, this is always the first few steps that you must do whenever you handle similar triangles. Number one, match the corresponding points. Number two, write down the ratio of the corresponding sides. Because if they ask you to find, either they ask you to find angles, if not, then they ask you to find ratio scale factor. Don't know whether do you still remember the word scale factor. Okay, scale factor works for enlargement, become bigger or smaller, enlargement or reduction. Or they can ask you to calculate measurements of length. So true enough, indeed, they say calculate the length of PR. So from here, I want to find PR. Okay, so I want to find PR. PR, definitely have to use this PR over PQ. We have numbers, 18, so I plug in the numbers. And then I can match with another pair that has a number. So I got 14 over 21. Okay, so the moment I can match a pair, then I just need to cross multiply, solve for my answer. Okay, technical terms, I'll leave it to you, but are you able to match the corresponding points? Are you able to write out the corresponding ratio? That is important. Next one, find RS. In order to find RS does not exist in any part of our two similar triangle, but RS is over here in this portion. This small portion over here is related to the side PS. So technically speaking, to find RS, I need to find what is PS first. So I technically speaking need to find PS. So let's take a look at our corresponding ratios. I have PS with PQ, and then I know the number 14 over 21. So I'm going to use PS with PQ, 14 over 21. Okay, write my ratio, cross multiply, solve for my answer. After I get my PS, that's the whole thing, right? The whole thing is 27. Okay, then how am I going to find RS? I probably need this PR. Have I found PR? Yes, I found PR just now, which is 12 cm. Then I minus away PR to get my answer, 15. Is that okay? Do you need me to repeat this question again? Any parts you need me to repeat again? Yes, yes, no, no. Maybe you can give me reaction. Hello, you're still there? Is this part of the question okay? Because this topic is a little bit harder. Can ha? Okay, only J respond me. The rest maybe false already or no question. Thank you. All right. Okay, can ha? So this is a very important question. Okay, you all must know how to do because it will usually come out in paper 2. If the question is difficult, it will usually come out in paper 2, section A. All right, one of the main few questions. Right? If it comes out in paper 1, usually it's enlargement, is scale factor. You just calculate the ratio and the angle. That one will be a little bit slightly easier. The questions are not that difficult. But if it's paper 2, it can involve algebra as well. Then it'll be a bit more difficult. Okay, next one, probability. Sweet packets, and then we have 25. So this one is Sec 2 work actually. Y'all don't know whether you still remember. All right, Sec 2 work, let me refresh a little bit of your memory. First one, to find median. Median per, in order to find median, you need to find middle position. Median and mean are different, okay? Middle position is take the total frequency plus 1 divided by 2. Then you go and identify the data value. Okay, that is for median. For mean is to take average. If some of you cannot remember, mean is summation fx over summation n. What does this mean? Means you take frequency times the data value. You add them together. Summation means to add. Okay, you add up, you sum up together, sum. Okay, divided by summation of the frequency. For your total frequency, you add up the total, you sum up the total. Okay, if you really still don't know, use the calculator. You know, you have your calculator mode. Don't know what mode, okay? Yeah, use your own calculator for your own mode. So in this case, now when there's a table, right, students, a lot of the time, they will forget or they will mix up which one is my data value, which one is my frequency. Actually, usually 90% or 99% of the time, frequency is always at the bottom, the statistics. Okay, then the data value is always on top. Why? Because they group the frequency according to the groups that's given, according to the data that's given. So the table usually always on top row is the data value. Okay, then this is the frequency. Write down the mode. Mode means the one that is most common, most popular. Okay, with the highest frequency. So the one highest frequency is 8, but 8 is not the number. The data value is 0 sweets, 0 yellow sweets. Some people say most, so they thought, oh, it's 5 ma, 5 is my most. No, my popularity for 5, the frequency is only 1. It's very low frequency. That is not. Okay, so don't look at the data value, look at the frequency. All right, most popular, highest frequency. Okay, so 0 sweets, you notice I include units. Huh? Write down the median. So it's not the mean, median. Median is the middle position. Total 25 packets. If not, you add up number 8. 5, 5, 4, 2, 1. Total is 25. Plus 1 divided by 2. Always remember at the middle position, there's this plus 1. This is only for discrete data. If it's a curve, do you need to plus 1 divided by 2? Cumulative frequency curve? No need. If it's a cumulative frequency curve, don't need to plus 1 divided by 2. Straight away 50%. Okay, this is only for discrete data. Then you plus 1 divided by 2. And you get the number 13. How do I find 13? Then how do I find the answer? How do I know, right? Okay, how do I count? What I need to do, I need to count. Oh, the first 8 is over here. 8 plus another 5. 8 plus 5 is how much? 8 plus 5 is 13, no? So the exact 13 is right inside here. So what is the data value? The 13 number, what is that data value? The data value is 1. So the median, oh, forgot to write, 1 sweet. Okay, so the median for the data value will be 1 sweet. That 13 number is how many sweet? That 13 number is 1 sweet. Then next one, calculate the mean. How do you find the mean? Summation f times x, frequency times data value. So I'm going to just go through one time. 0 frequency times 0 times 8. Frequency times data value, 8 times 0, 0. 5 times 1, 5. 5 times 2, 10. 4 times 3, 12. 2 times 4, 8. 1 times 5, 5. Add up all these numbers, sum up all your frequency, fx, that's 40. Divide by my total frequency, 25. Okay, so you have this. If not, because the question next part says standard deviation, I still need to key this into my calculator. So you remember to switch on your frequency mode. I can't show you how to key the calculator now. So if you need to, cannot remember, so please kind of do for me. I'll go through with you. Okay, so calculate the standard deviation. For me, I get my standard deviation as this answer, 3 sig. Okay, so this part shouldn't be too difficult if you know how to calculate the standard deviation. I hope you all still remember how to calculate standard deviation. Huh? Okay, next question, last page. Oh, today we overrun a little bit. Okay, last page. Now this one have a few concepts. Okay, I chose this question because it's a slightly shorter version of questions that can come out in paper 2 as well. So inside the diagram, OKL is a sector. Sector, a few formulas we need to remember already, right? So sector, if it's arc length will be theta over 360 times arc length, 2 pi r. Please memorize it. You need to remember. Then next one, sector area will be theta over 360 degrees. Area of circle, pi r squared. Okay, so this is a sector. Then maybe you need segment and all the other shaded area and stuff like that later. Okay, center O radius is 8 cm. Now this portion, this keyword here, whenever you have radius, the question can become tricky. Okay, there is a lot of common mistakes students might make. They will, first thing, where is the radius? This is 8, right? Where else is the radius? If you were to look at the circle, it moves on over here. Only this portion is the radius. OK is 8. A lot of students will think, oh, OM also 8. Sometimes like then during exam they panic, right? Then they'll take that one is 8. It's actually not correct. So whenever there is the word radius, must be very careful. Quickly identify and label all the different radius. Where are the numbers that's 8, right? Sometimes the diagram, the radius is also not even drawn for you. So you better, if you need it, you better make sure you draw it and identify the radius. Okay. Next one, they say OKM is a straight line. ML, tangent. ML, tangent to the circle at L. Tangent to the circle at L. First keyword, tangent. Perpendicular to my radius, circle properties. It looks like not important, that never come out circle property, but it tests your concept understanding here. So this is tangent, perpendicular to radius. So at L, right? L need to join radius, so must join to the center of circle O. So therefore, this is my 90-degree angle. Why do you think they give me 90-degree angle? 90-degree angle, and then somewhere here got what? Got triangle, right? Definitely means must use tuakaso. Some of you don't like tuakaso, you all use sine rule, can go ahead. just make sure you know that you need to use it. Okay, and they gave you the angle. This one is 44 degrees. Giving you the angle 44, you can also find this angle lah. So some of you use sine rule, you got angles, then you are quite happy already, right? Calculate the area of the shaded region. To find the area of this shaded region, let's think carefully. What do I need to find? First, I need to find the area of the triangle. Take the area of triangle minus the area of my sector. So this is the area of triangle minus the area of my sector. Sector is this piece. Oh, must make it round. If not, it look like triangle. So, okay, one is triangle. So if I want to find area of triangle have AB sine C, I can use that, but I do not know this length. So either I can need to find, or I can use half times base times height of my triangle. I can also find this base and this height. So either way, I still need to use torcaso to find one of the length. So for me, I tried to put, I found LM instead. I went to find half time base times height. So if you find OM also can, okay, up to you, then use half AB sine C. So for me, I found LM. Then this triangle over here, this is the tangent opposite. This is opposite of my angle. This one touches my angle, so it's adjacent. TOA, tangent. Cross multiply and get my answer 7.7255. This is not the final answer, so it's 5, 6 feet in my working. So now I've gotten this portion, area of triangle will be half times base times height. Okay, half times base, which is 8, times the height, which is 7 point this. So I get my area of triangle. Even if you cannot do this, you can at least find the area of my sector. Area of sector, degree, which is 44 degrees, sorry, over 360 times pi r squared. So area of shaded region, subtract away, get my answer. So this is a very good question that can come out in paper 2 section. The first part, maybe they give you some circle properties, because the whole question is 8 marks, right? Then the second part, they can give you something like that. Okay, so this is a sample kind of question. Last question. Okay, treat your 2D shape. This one, according to the ME exam paper that we are given, you're very weak at this, right? So all the different shapes. So today I just focus on cylinder. So a few formulas for cylinder to remember. Volume of cylinder. Okay, what is the volume of cylinder? Cylinder base area is a circle. So this one is pi r squared times the height. Okay, curved surface area. Curved surface area of cylinder. If you open up the cylinder, this cylinder will actually become a rectangle. Okay, a rectangle. Where does this length come from? This comes from the perimeter. You cut up the circle, you open it up, it will become one full length. So this is actually a long rectangle for my curved surface area, which is my 2 pi r. Or some of you remember pi d. Also can pi d times the height of the rectangle, h. So volume of cylinder, pi r square. Volume square times the height will give you volume. Okay, curved surface area, pi dh. Right. Next, now the diameter of the whole cylinder, or they tell you the diameter. When they tell you this kind of word, diameter, immediately think of radius. Mentally put a note down there so that you don't take the wrong number as the radius. Height is 6 cm. Okay, the thickness of the hollow cylinder meaning the one that's inside, this one over here is being removed. This is empty, so only got the solid portion outside over here. Only this is available. Okay, they say the thickness is 1.5, but thickness goes two ways. This is 1.5, this is also 1.5. So what is this trying to tell you? this tells me that this portion, the diameter over here for my inner portion of the cylinder will be 19 minus away 1.5 minus away 1.5. So you notice the first thing I do from they say the thickness, immediately I find the diameter of the inner cylinder. So now this is 16 already, immediately I also write radius is how much? So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So important information, diameter, radius, height. Okay, so only got pi r square h, right? R and h. So you need to know what is r and what is the respective h. So for the height, this is 6 cm. Both of them have the same height. There's no other whichever. So it's just 6 cm. Okay, so if I want to find the amount of clay used in this case, I need to take the bigger cylinder, the whole thing. I cut out the inner portion. I cut this portion out. So I need to subtract away this volume. Okay, please bear in mind, when we have volume, if you cut out something, volume decreases. But when you cut out something, the total surface area may increase or decrease. So if it's a total surface area, don't just minus everything, because some portion the surface increase, some portion the surface decrease. So for surface area of solid, when you cut out certain things, it is not always subtraction. Okay, only if volume they say cut out, then definitely most likely the volume will decrease, then it's subtraction. Okay, so in this case, I'm looking at the volume of the whole cylinder. Volume of whole cylinder, pi r square h. What is the r square? The bigger one, 19, not 19, radius 9.5. Okay, then height still the same. So plug in the values. This one, you still tell me don't know, I cannot help you. You have to remember the formula, identify on your own and plug it on your own. Minus away the volume of the inner cylinder. The inner cylinder is this one, the smaller one over here. So radius is, diameter is 16, radius is 8. So pi r square, height still the same height as observed from the diagram, h. Then since this one is not accurate because of pi, answer 3 significant figures. Okay, so this one is the answer. All right, we come to the end of the question. Last question already. Is there any questions that you need? Is there any questions that you need? Are you all okay with it? Good, good to go? Yay, good to go. Then we are done for the day.